Actress Lana Clarkson would sadly gain more career attention in death than in life. In early 2003, the world of film lost a shining personality as Lana's life was abruptly ended with a bullet. She was 40 years old. Her alleged killer, legendary rock producer Phil Spector, is one of the greatest producers of rock and roll music. A pioneer in pop record production, Phil is famed for his wall of sound technique that featured orchestration with strings and horns added to the spare instrumentation of rock music. Voted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1989, Phil developed a reputation as a temperamental, reclusive and erratic genius. He has produced records for the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Eric Clapton and the Righteous Brothers. In 1970, he was hired by the Beatles to do post-production work on their Let It Be album, which Paul McCartney and many critics later criticised as overdone. Lana Clarkson was a down-on-her-luck actress who had appeared in numerous B-movies, most notably Barbarian Queen, directed by Roger Corman. To make ends meet, she'd taken a job at the House of Blues in West Hollywood, where she worked as a hostess in the Foundation Room, the club's VIP lounge. It was there that she met the legendary rock and roll producer in the early morning hours of February 3, 2003. After leaving with Phil and going back to his palatial mansion, only two people know what happened next. Police responded to a 911 phone call from one of Phil's neighbours, and upon arrival, investigators found Lana, who had been shot dead. When questioned, Phil claimed that Lana killed herself by putting a gun in her mouth and firing it. After an extensive investigation, police believed the evidence suggested otherwise, and that Phil had been the one who had pulled the trigger. Police took Phil into custody on suspicion of murder charges shortly after they arrived at his mansion.
The officers arrived at the scene and discovered a female had been shot inside the location. The victim was pronounced dead. Mr. Philip Spector from Motown Records has been arrested and booked for murder. Our sheriff homicide investigators are assisting with this investigation. The body of the victim is still at the location. Her identity and age has not been disclosed.
Neighbours said the producer was rarely seen at the 10-bedroom home they called the Castle and seemed to live a quiet life.
We just saw him once in a while drive down the hill and stuff. That was about it.
Was it quiet?
Yeah, there was hardly anything ever going on up there. Once in a while you see the limousine or something, somebody going up there, but that's about it.
An autopsy report found that the actress had been killed by a single gunshot after the weapon was placed in her mouth. Phil pleaded innocent to the charges during an LA court appearance. Following the announcement of the indictment, Phil maintained his innocence and claimed, in fact, that he was a victim.
No crime was committed at my home on February 3rd, 2003, and the public will find that out as well, and that this district attorney is pursuing a personal vendetta without evidence. If not, why will he not let me have a preliminary hearing guaranteed me under a California Constitution? Instead, he secretly, as fascists would, went to a secret grand jury to seek and get an indictment. Why?
With the evidence mounting against him, prosecutors claimed the reclusive music producer had a history of pointing guns at people and once forced Dee Dee Ramone to play bass at gunpoint. Guilty or not, only Lana Clarkson and Phil Spector know the truth.